Former President Trump now just hours away from appearing in a lower Manhattan courthouse for his arraignment on charges yet to be known. Julia Manchester, national political reporter for The Hill, is with me right now. Well, it's been a very interesting day so far here. I know newly announced 2024 GOP candidate, former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson, doubling down on his call for the former President Trump to step aside on Elizabeth Vargas reports. Let's watch that.
I believe the office is more important than the person. And here you're going to have distractions from 3 different investigations that is going to make it difficult for the voters to really focus on the solutions.
Do you think that that is a consensus across the party? His popularity among voters is evident, if you believe any of the polls, which I know a lot of skepticism surrounds polls nowadays. But do you think that more GOP contenders are hoping that he just drops out because of this indictment and the other cases?
You know, it's a complicated question to ask, Adrienne, and listening to Asa Hutchinson and his calls for Trump to drop out are very different from the rest of the GOP primary field. In fact, you have Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, someone who hasn't officially jumped into the primary field, but is seen as President Trump's top rival in a potential GOP primary. He called Alvin Bragg, the district attorney in this case, a menace to society. You heard Mike Pence, the former vice president under Trump, also doesn't have a great relationship with the former president, calling the indictment outrageous. Nikki Haley has also suggested it was a political move on Bragg's part. So you have the rest of the GOP primary essentially bowing to Trump on this one because they know that a lot of the GOP primary voters probably agree with Trump that this is a political move on Alvin Bragg's part. So they know that in order to cater to those voters that are trying to decide between Trump or another contender, but leaning towards Trump, they got to take his side on this one. So Asa Hutchinson very much differentiating himself and sort of looking to the general election in a way, because although we know this will help Trump in the primary, Adrienne, in the general election against Joe Biden, who's made it a priority to focus on those kitchen table issues over the past couple of days, it's hard to say whether this legal baggage would really match up against Joe Biden in a face-off.
And really, when it comes to the race against Joe Biden, there are a lot of Democrats who do not want him to run. So far, we really haven't seen a peep or heard a peep of any other potential Democratic nominee for that race. But do you think that this whole case, the indictment, whether or not former President Trump is found guilty or not of a misdemeanor or a felony or anything, do you think that this could backfire and actually just embolden him and the GOP even more?
Well, I think it very well could, and we'll definitely see that in the primary. You know, it's hard to say how it'll impact the general election, but for that reason, Adrienne, that's why you have a lot of Democrats saying, do not celebrate this publicly. Treat this like a sad day in America, and that a former leader is being indicted on a crime. Focus on those kitchen table issues. You know, it was notable on Friday last week when President Trump was dealing with the fallout from that indictment. President Biden was on his way to Mississippi to survey the damage from those tornadoes. You also saw last week President Biden, he's in the midst of this tour right now, doing this economic tour around the country, talking about, ways to bolster the economy. You know, regardless of what you think of President Biden's job on the economy, those are the issues that are impacting Americans every day, not these legal problems that President Trump is grappling with. So Democrats are saying, stay laser focused on those issues and don't get distracted by the Trump show.
I think that a lot of Americans, Republican and Democrat, could agree with that there's a whole lot more going on than what's happening in a New York courtroom, and at the same time, a historic day. Julia Manchester, thank you as always. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.